Do I use the present tense to maintain consistency, or do I need the past tense instead? Well, don't get tense when studying verb tenses. In this video lesson, we will cover how to recognize appropriate verb tenses for a given time frame or context. After a quick but thorough practice session, we will try a quick test to see how well you have learned past, present, infinitive, and both participle tense shifts. Let's begin. Now, a tense shift item on an objective test might look like this. We need to figure out which of these three items in the verbs may not be correct, or if they are correct, no change might be necessary. When King was a puppy, he chewed toys and furniture. Now that he is an adult, he wanted to chew the mail carrier most of all. Is was, is, or wanted in the wrong tense? Or is this sentence correct? Letter C, wanted should be present tense. Therefore, the correct option is C, wants. So when we want to use present and present perfect tense, we are wanting to indicate current or regular action going on in the sentence. For example, present tense is a verb that is singular with an S. If it's plural, it's just the verb itself. Present perfect tense, you're adding the words has or have before the past participle of the verb tense. For example, Jeffrey goes to the gym 6 days a week where he has gained not only muscle, but also discipline. Jeffrey goes is that singular verb with the S on it. And the present perfect tense has gained. We have the past participle of gained with an ED. And we've added the word has in front of it to make it present tense. You want to use past perfect to indicate a past action that occurred before another past action. In past tense, that regular form is going to be the verb with the ED. Unfortunately, irregular forms may vary. In your past perfect tense, you're going to use the past participle just like we used in present tense, but this time instead of has or have, we're going to use the word had. For example, Jeffrey had lifted free weights for over an hour before someone mentioned the rip in his shorts. Now you want to use progressive tenses to indicate an ongoing action that occurs as another action is happening. And that's when you get into the forms of to be, and then with your verb you're going to have an ing infinitive ending. For example, our form of to be in this sentence is the word was, and the word show is going to have an ing ending. Jeffrey was showing off when he tore a muscle in his shoulder. Now we talked very briefly about irregular forms. When logic permits, you can actually mix past and present tenses with the future. For example, because he went, past tense, to the gym today, Jeffrey will reward himself with a triple bacon cheeseburger for lunch. Notice that's in the future, he hasn't done it yet. After he weighs himself tomorrow, he will regret the poor food choice. Again, weighs is present tense, and will regret is future. Sometimes those irregular forms can take the form or shape of the different conjunctions, such as could and would be the past tense of can and will. Here are examples of can and will being used incorrectly. Jeffrey thought he will have enough energy for his workout, but skipping breakfast meant that he cannot complete his training. Nope, those are incorrect. So let's change them to could and would. Jeffrey thought he would have enough energy for his workout, but skipping breakfast meant that he could not complete his training. We're now ready for our quick test. You may review the first part of this video as often as you like in order to prepare, or you can move on to our quick test now. You also have a handout that you may use for your tense shifts. So in the items that follow, given the sentences, you need to choose the option that corrects an error in the underlined portions. If no error exists, you may choose letter D, no change is necessary. So here's our sentence. Aunt Lillian had frozen 4 quarts of her homegrown strawberries, but she lost them after the hurricane was knocking out power for 8 days. Is it letter A, should we change had frozen to froze? Letter B, change lost to had lost. Letter C, change was knocking to knocked. Or D, is there no change necessary? Letter C, knocked, is the correct answer. We need to change it to past tense. Item 2. Because Sammy had been eating all of the chocolate mint ice cream before she got home, Roxanne whacked him over the head. Letter C, had eaten, would be correct. Had been eaten is actually an irregular form. Item 3. Carlos pawed at his hair and shook his head, but he cannot dislodge the giant spider tangled in his curls. Should we change A, pawed to was pawing, B, shook to was shaking, C, cannot to could not, or letter D, is no change necessary? Letter C, could not, would be the correct choice. Item 4. Grandpa planted a backyard garden hoping that it was helping with the high cost of food. Is was helping correct so no change is necessary, or should we change it to A, will help, B, would help, or C, helped? Changing was helping to would help is the correct choice. When Gretchen was a freshman, she wanted to major in biology, but after her first rat dissection, she couldn't change her major fast enough. Should we change couldn't to had been A, was wanting B, C, cannot, or no change is necessary? Here are your choices. No change is necessary. This sentence is correct as written. Item 6. Everyone is sleeping soundly when Brendan dropped the glass pitcher of lemonade on the stone tiles of the kitchen floor. How would we change is sleeping? Would it be A, had been sleeping, B, slept, C, would sleep, or is this correct? No change is necessary. Letter A, everyone had been sleeping soundly, is correct answer. Item 7. Ancient Egyptians spent their entire lives preparing for their death and burial. Today, however, people are thinking that such arrangements are morbid and impolite to discuss. Should we change letter A, spent, to were spending? Letter B, are thinking, to think? Letter C, are, to would be? Or is there no change necessary and the sentence is correct? Letter B, we want to change it to people think that such arrangements are morbid. We want to make it present tense. Item 8. When Felicia saw the turtle trying to cross the busy road, she leaped out of her car and had carried the reptile to safety to the other side. So we want to know, should you change had carried to A, was carrying, B, carried, C, will carry, or is the sentence correct and there is no change necessary? Letter B, you don't need that past perfect tense. It is just past tense. She leaped out of her car and carried the reptile. Item 9. George Washington believed that he was invincible in battle. He rode a conspicuous white horse that made him an easy target, yet no bullet had hit him, validating his conviction of invulnerability. Should we change letter A, believed, to had believed? Should we change letter B, rode, to was riding? Should we change letter C, had hit, to hit? Or is the sentence correct and no change is necessary? Letter C, yet no bullet hit him, would be correct. We don't need past perfect tense with the word had. Item 10. We would have bite marks on our ankles and scratches on our thighs ever since adopting Nelson, our feisty kitten. Would have, should we change that to A, had? B, just leave it for have? C, is it future tense with will have? Or D, is the sentence correct and no change is necessary? Letter B, just the word have. We don't need the would or any coulds. That's it. You've reached the end of your tense shifts video. Again, go back and play this video over again as often as you need or like, and you have the handout for tense shifts that you can practice with as well.